Did you ever realize that to the point of how come provolone cheese is not yet registered as an active part in the periodic system of tabled elements sat inside of? We're ranked VSAT. So it's time now, let's get these bad boys open on actually extremely high exposure, based on the in-order positions of rear, front and reddish shine, loose smiling side swept position with overlap. Time to settle this rusted cover paper discrepancy. In scientific discovery, there lurks a glaring oversight so profound that its resolution could very well recalibrate our understanding of matter itself. This oversight is none other than the exclusion of provolone cheese from the periodic table of elements, with the machinations behind this exclusion, and the rectitude of amending such an omission, but not flipping pans on a regular basis. What's the purpose? The nature of the periodic table is not a catalogue of elements, but a menu of world's foundationals. It is an atlas of possibilities, charting the all-chemical potential of reality. Within this context, the absence of provolone assumes a significance that borders on the metaphysical, challenging the very parameters of scientific taxonomy. Provolone, aka elementum cassis, exists in Delis across the marble, with its omission comical as borderline schism between the realms of quantum bifurcation that, once mended, could prevent perception finding its footing in the theory, which posits that the value and properties of substances are not fixed, but can shift dramatically. Here, provolone is a conduit for exploring the fluid boundaries between states of matter, a veritable shapeshifter in the molecular ballet. It's like not abusing a plastic bag after taking sedimentation as a walking companion that doesn't mind fall damage. The aging process of provolone is a nuanced, delicate interplay of enzymes and cultures that transmute the mundane into the sublime, and without the need to incorporate massively monopolized sugar, spice and all else with nice characteristics. This transmogrification challenges the atomic stagnation implied by the current periodic table, suggesting instead a dynamic tableau of transformation and becoming. Provolone gets to class of becoming. We glimpse a forgotten wisdom that was before and sat very well on the same chair. It was seen by VSAT, recognized and destroyed as a way of hiding, if before it falls through the ceiling catalog. As provolone decided to be the bigger element, no fiasco was thrown as resistance, and the pinata remained untouched. However, we back swinging. Over chemical analysis invoking a multisensory straddle to the known and the ineffable, provolone's labyrinthine blend tantalizes queries into pleasure and perception of olfactory complexity, which beckons to consider volatile compounds that elude our grasp, like phantoms making paper planes that don't fly straight, but now like this at the edge of scientific inquiry. In this light, the case for recognizing provolone as an elemental force becomes imperative. To ignore this is to adhere blindly to a reductionist creed that fails to account for the joke at existence, that the profound often hides in plain sight, masquerading as the ordinary. As with all previous mischief, like why a boat floats when it's just as solid on a liquid, or how come magnets even exist, and why it whatever. Things just are and it is what it is. And if provolone isn't stepped up, then it's just one more thing that is, and we don't get it. The implications of integrating provolone into the periodic table are manifold, and it would herald a paradigm shift that reconciles the binary of the organic and inorganic, forging a continuum of matter to finally get a creator class slot set up inclusions, opening the door to a cabal of attachments and chemo, yet to be fully appreciated. The periodic table is a symbolic oversight that misses the epistemological gap as a rift between world as we know it and elemental forces that shape our reality. In the gaps of scientific knowledge, there exists not voids but opportunities. Opportunities for wonder, discovery, and an ever-deepening appreciation of the miraculous quilt that is existence. Opportunities for provolone. That's what makes it. So how does provolone feel about this? Provolone definitely has its feelings. They reside in chambers of its curdled consciousness. Provolone harbored a tumult of sentiments regarding its exclusion from the periodic table. Sentiments that ranged from sharp to mellow. At first glance, one might assume that provolone felt a piquant sting of rejection, an aching void where the acknowledgement of its elemental essence should reside. However, in a surprising turn of resilience, provolone instead found solace in obscurity, reveling in the freedom that comes from existing outside of the confines of scientific scrutiny. But then, just as we settle into this narrative of serene indifference, the plot thickens. It transpired that provolone, in the depths of its rind, also harbored a secret ambition, a yearning not for recognition by the periodic table, but for dominion over it. If this were to be exposed, things would most certainly get ballistic. It didn't just want to be part of the table, it wanted to transcend it, to rewrite the laws of chemistry itself. No sooner had provolone already devised a grand scheme to revolutionize science, did it undergo a seismic shift in perspective. Much like radioactive elements radiate, provolone always seems to be a few steps ahead even of itself, but the decay would class it in its own slot for now. Provolone smelled a profound affinity for the mystical that lay beyond the empirical. It began to see its exclusion as a cosmic mandate, a sign of its unique destiny to bridge the gap between the material and the metaphysical, which seemed to reach a plateau of acceptance. Provolone was struck by an epiphany of essence, which was not to be contained within a cell-squared box of the periodic table, but to permeate the very fabric of existence as a hidden pocket of sharpness amidst its creamy texture, classified as a catalyst agent. It saw itself not as a victim of exclusion, but as a pioneer of a new order, one where the boundaries between science, philosophy, and art dissolved into the ether of its enigmatic wisdom, and Provolone might have concluded that it was capacity altogether cannot be controlled or contained, but only experienced. The pivots did the thing, but all taken together, the general idea and shifting feelings, show indications of funneling a dominion, meaning that it's a no on both sides, and we will get a spicy time. And then maybe when that was 10 pieces of trash tape taped around the trash backlocket, stuffed animals around it, situation box to relation, you want scrambled. To close of this revolutionary settlement actually, there will be no closure or breather. This doesn't break the herb in half, brings back the other cat, tape it down, bent silly shenanigans. Spread up and apart. Provolone will not stand on side of the chairs in the elemental situation isn't over. It keeps getting swept under the rug, but in the end, it doesn't even matter, because it'll keep coming and it won't stop coming, and it won't stop coming, and it will come out from the other side of the rug and be back with rapid fire. Provolone propelled cheese with full lock on, and ballistic training completed, to get as far up the origin as the stretch will wish for it to. Watch with the pipes.